The dice are in your favor.
I'm gonna let you say the number first, so that way, people don't think that you're changing the number.
I rolled a 2.
Well, I can't read the die.
Well, that's a problem. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello, it is me, Itisdpayne.
How does it... Oh.
Go ahead, you.
I was going to ask, how does it feel now that you're approaching the end of your birthday month?
It's really funny, because my birthday hasn't happened by the time of this recording.
It's close enough.
We're
literally
a
lot
tomorrow.
Ahead of schedule.
It's literally tomorrow, and we're done.
For all the listeners know, it's the end of birthday month.
Yes.
We're barely 2 weeks. We're not even 2 weeks into birthday month. But how would you rate this year's birthday month?
Well, seeing how I'm actually taking off from work tomorrow for the first time. Well, for my birthday. Let me put it this way.
You're not a workaholic.
Yeah, but I didn't have, I'm like, what am I going to do? Just stay at home? But, this is the first time I'm celebrating my birthday in almost 10-ish years.
Birthday.
So, yeah, I'll say, hey, compared to the last couple, ain't too bad. I don't know. I might have a different opinion tomorrow. I'll let you know.
But yeah, my birthday month will be kicked off with your news.
Yes.
We'll see.
I'll let you know the news before.
No, but it will be interesting to see. So I ask you now, how's birthday month? And then your answer could change wildly from between months. But that's okay.
We'll see if I want to be out in public now. No, but
you just, if things go wrong, you just need to get a Twizzler suit.
Yeah.
and live in your imagination.
I heard you do. It's called D&D. What's this song? Man, now I had all the emo music just play in my head at once for that outcome. And now, the night I'll say fall for you.
Secondhand Serenade, fall for you.
Mm-hmm. I don't know the name of it, and to be honest, it's the only line I remember from the song. I listened to a lot more ska.
That makes sense. Pick it up. I have a friend that I used to hang out with. Again, I know you're not diagnosed, but he loved ska, and he was diagnosed and medicated. We'll say that.
Happy birthday to me, I guess. Hey, next week, I am going to the doctor and the dentist on the same day for the first time also in almost 15 years. So.
Oh, wow, yeah. I think I still don't have a primary, but I have since started going to certain doctors, for different things. I now have regular dentist appointments. Ugh.
Yeah, well, there was a very serious request by somebody that I go, and then I didn't even know if that doctor's office that I used to go to existed. So it did, but I don't have dental insurance. So I'm paying that out of pocket, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just get it taken care of. But I will say there have been some things that I'm like, I don't know if it's just the fact that I lost 30 pounds that I'm noticing different changes. My fingernails are blue a lot. And then of course you do the mistake of looking up. My apartment's in the ground. So it's colder. Mm-hmm. And so I'm is it because it's just cold? Or do I have diabetes? I don't know.
Dr. Google is never good for you. I recently had, I'll just say it this way. I did sign up to do an elective medical thing for my own peace of mind of various things. And they suggested I could take pain reliever or anti-inflammatories ahead of time to make the process more comfortable, because where I was going didn't offer any anesthetic or anything like that. So they were like, yeah, take like 600 milligrams about an hour before you come in, so it's in your system, and that can help with pain and everything. But like everything comes down to pain tolerance. So
It's like I talk to Payne every week.
wow. So I did some Googling because before I made the phone calls to the office itself, I couldn't remember like how many and how soon and like, all those suggestions. Ended up seeing how the procedure is done. So I just sat there ruminating over the fact like, I signed up for this. I signed up for this. There are a lot of benefits. There are some side effects. The negative side effects are very low percentages. I signed up for this. And then when my friend was nice enough to give me a ride to it, and she was like, this is why you don't look up things on Google. And I was like, oh, that's rich coming from you. And she's like, look, this time I'm on the other side.
Yeah, it's I will say it's not my main concern because there's like a couple other things that I'm just like I need to get a couple answers for.
Getting old's fun.
Yeah, but I'm like, as I told a couple coworkers, I'm like, if they tell me I need to be on some sort of medicine, I'm like, do I have to? Like, is there any other option? Because I'm like, I don't want to be on medicine now. So it's like, yeah. So it's just one of those things. It's like, hey, if you're on medicine, I'm not saying like, wow, why are you on medicine? Because I do think there's a lot of benefits and all that. I just don't want to pay for it.
Yeah. That's the crappy thing about it all, right? Because it's all like, this would be your best option if health insurance didn't deny everybody's claim. Like, there's the whole list of like reasons why it's complicated and difficult for people to get access to things that they need.
Yeah. Like
you said, dental insurance. We all have teeth. Why can't we just have teeth taken care of?
Why can't we get robot teeth? There's the real question.
You can get veneers. Like,
no.
I think
I want literal robot. I want like Terminators in my mouth that are just like, I will be back, as they get like brushed.
But sometimes they leave and they might not come back depending on if they can get the boy.
True. Then I can be like the old man from Futurama. Hello there. I forgot his name.
Dr.
Uncle Iroh.
Nope, that's a completely different show.
I know. I said that on purpose.
All I can remember it's the main character's grandnephew or something. Great grandnephew or something.
Yeah. The only other doctor I remember is Zoidberg.
Yeah, like Zoidberg is a very memorable character in that show. The only unfortunate thing is the movie we watched has a lot of unmemorable characters in it for this week. Segue! I did it! I did it!
Yep. Today we watched Ip Man 4. Wait, do we want to tell them now what we're doing next week, or do we want to do it before we go into Spoiler Town? I think that we started doing it before we went into Spoiler Town.
Yeah, we can save it for spoiler. I mean, like, we can say, so, like, I've been joking in this episode, in the last 3 episodes, that it's been birthday month. So, in us watching the 12 different directors throughout the year, we each decided for birthday month we get to just pick the director we wanted. Payne's birthday is in April, like you said. Tomorrow, at the time of airing 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, at the time of airing 2 weeks ago. I was like,
yeah.
It's not tomorrow at the time of airing. When does this air?
I have it highlighted.
Oh, I don't have that open. Oh. Because if I go there, it's this.
Blinding. But yeah, so this is set to air the 28th.
Yes.
So quite some time away from actual birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then for May, so you picked Wilson Yip so we could watch through the Ip Man movies because you said you watched the first 3.
The first 3, yes. I did. This is the first time I watched 4 because 4 came out after, like, pretty much when 4 came out is when I kind of just stopped watching movies.
It's hard to dedicate time to movies unless you're like us and make a reason, or you're really into movies. So that makes sense. And then for my month, I picked Taika Waititi so that I have an excuse to finally watch Boy and Hunter for the Wilder People and Jojo Rabbit. I haven't seen any of those. but we do
Yeah.
get to watch what we do in the shadows.
Jojo Rabbit was definitely on my list to watch eventually, but once again, what there's always a good time to watch What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, it is. Like, I am a little sad they never came out. They theorized that they would come out with a movie, or there's a rumor that a movie was going to come out about the swearwolves, and I would have loved that. But I also really love the TV show, so I can't be upset.
Yeah, isn't it on its last season?
I think so. I don't know if it's aired or aired slash airing slash filming. I don't know where it is in that pipeline.
Yeah, I what season did I kind of stop watching? Because I want to go back and finish it.
Do you remember your last major? I feel like what was the last season you finished on, the one about Colin, the energy vampire?
Yes. He shrank. If that makes sense.
Yes, and is not a spoiler, but yeah, it's yeah, I understand. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the season finale for that.
Yes, that's why I'm like, I think that's the best way to put it.
The pause of like, oh yeah, he. Yes.
Yes. So, but I didn't see. Yeah, and then.
So there is one full season.
There's also some miscommunication against certain people's wills for another couple on there.
There's just a lot of miscommunication in the whole show, honestly. But
yeah,
you know.
Well, oh man, I wish I could remember. I'm blanking on all their names.
There's Nadja. There's her partner.
Yeah.
There's Nandor. I don't know why I'm forgetting Matt Berry's character. I do like his character. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm going
to the things. Yeah, Guillermo
is Nandor's
Laszlo.
Laszlo.
I still think my favorite Laszlo and Matt Berry's like thing is when he's like the bars keep the barkeep. I forget what his name
with
is.
Mark Hamill in it too. Yeah. With a very like not like his name is so suspicious.
Yeah.
But everyone's just like, we're in the middle of Pennsylvania. What are you going to do? My favorite bit with Laszlo is when he gets invited to a Super Bowl party, but he thinks it's the Superb Owl, and they're preparing.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what is the point of this? Good question.
Let me see. I'm on IMDb right now. I'm just seeing. I think I watched season 5. Let me see if I click it. Will it tell me what actually happens? Yes, I believe I watched this one. I don't know. It's kind of, I'm like looking at the screenshots and I'm like, I can't tell. Is that Bobby Lee? What I wasn't expecting to see in the episode in all the on all the pictures. Yeah, I don't know. Some of this stuff. Haley Joel Osment is in here.
Yes, I think I remember his character.
Sora's in here. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so I stopped. Let's see. I definitely. Oh, that's season 1. I'm like, this seems familiar. Let's see. Because this one I was trying to like rush through a bunch of stuff and.
Because you thought everything was getting taken down.
Yeah. Okay. I know I saw season 3, season 4. I don't remember if I saw. I think I haven't seen season 4 on. Looking at the description of it.
Okay.
Yes, I just clicked on the end of season 3, and there's a very clear screenshot of something that we may have just mentioned. And so yeah, I'm in the halfway. That makes sense for me. To be fair, my whatever it's called, track record for watching TV shows, that made it farther than normal.
At first, I thought I hadn't seen season 5, but once it got into the later episodes, I was like, oh, I remember that. So I've watched season 5. I haven't watched 6. And I can't remember if 6 is the last one or if there's one more. Oh, 6, the last episode is titled The Finale.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, so cool. Anyway, that has nothing. Well, that we're not watching the TV
Just some
show for
future
Hops
topics.
thing. Yeah. Yes, but yeah. So we'll be. I always butcher his name. I can see it in my head. But how do you say his name again?
Taika Waititi.
That.
Yeah.
So,
Also director of. I did watch the first season for our Flag Means Death. Also very fun show. That one's Pirates.
okay.
He's in it, and so is the guy that plays the manager in the Flight of the Conchords series. Got you geek. But yes,
I like that show.
that is a good show. I don't remember if Taika is involved with that show, but I mean, like Jermaine Clement was involved in the What We Do in the Shadows movie. I can't remember if he had. I think he has writing credits on the series as well.
Yes.
And he has guest appearances.
Mm-hmm.
At least one.
Yeah. Well, the werewolf is leader's their manager.
Yes.
The only person that's not in is the other
Brit.
singer. Yeah, I'm like, it's been so long since I listened to Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, I just remember the whole episode. He's like, my name is not Brett. Like, he has his pronunciation thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, in that case, since we did say what we're doing next month, are you ready to roll some dice?
I'll see. I'll see how I feel after I roll them.
I believe in you. I believe that you'll roll higher than me so that you can give the short summary of Ip Man 4 and get a chance to do the opening part of the episode for your birthday month. You can do it. The dice are in your favor.
I'm going to let you say the number first so that way people don't think that you're changing the number.
I rolled a 2.
Well, I can't read my die.
Well, that's a problem.
Well, I rolled a 12.
Oh, see, look, it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. I wish it was the first one. That one was more fun to talk about. Anyway.
This one will be more fun to talk about. But yes, so first we will go into a short summary of the movie, and then I will ask Dpayne questions. It's my turn to ask the questions.
Not if I get to them first. No. Yeah, and then we'll go to Spoiler Town. Woohoo!
Choo-choo.
Yeah, so the summary of this movie is Ip Man follows in the steps of his wife.
Wow. If you've watched 3, that's a crazy summary. It does feel done, though.
Yes.
It was a very,
It is historical.
Them opening scene going, I'm so sorry to tell you. And I was like, is it? And then they said what it was, and I was like, okay.
Yes.
You kind of did this plot line.
Yeah, well, when you base your story loosely off a real person, you gotta, I guess, follow that. So pretty much he is trying to get kind of things in order. And so one of the things is that he wants to get his son into school in America. His son doesn't want to go. He wants to pretty much learn Kung Fu. But Ip Man doesn't want it, and the majority of the movie takes place in Chinatown within L.A., right?
I don't think it's L.A.
San
I think it's San Francisco.
San Francisco. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is, if I scrolled up. Yeah, so they go to San Francisco, and the majority of the movie takes place there, and yeah, Ip Man in his winter years or months, I don't know, it's not very clear how old he actually is in this movie, is still learning what it means to be like a parent.
Yeah, how to dad.
Yes. and also does kung fu. Anyway, I think that's, I don't know.
That's
Would
a
you
good
say
enough
that's good?
summary. Yeah. But yeah, so then our favorite question to kick off with. If this was the only movie you watched by this director, would you watch the rest of their catalog?
I will say, like, if this was the only one I watched, it really, like, even though we do have our problems with it, as an action film, it isn't terrible. Like, as action standpoint. So I think I would look at it. Because the action scenes, in my opinion, like, I do think the camera work and some of the stuff for some of the fights in there are are still good. So I think I would be curious on, but I don't think I would push as much as I did like after 1 and 2.
That's fair. I think I would personally say no. Like I know, I agree. We do have like things about this movie that we love and hate, but it's like the way that the story was told. I would not be willing to sit through more life lessons told through this perspective. But again, our questions, because it's a series, we know this isn't the crowning achievement of this character. There are better ways to watch this character. Because it's easier to kind of like ask this question when the movies are completely unrelated.
Yes. And it's one of the things I've noticed we've been doing, which is we tend to talk more about Donnie Yen and his performance rather than Wilson Yip's directorial stuff. But as we said, we really didn't have like a huge agenda for birthday months, except for we really want to watch this. And it wasn't so much I wanted to watch Wilson Yip. I just wanted to watch Ip Man again. So
That's totally fun.
Yep.
And I will say the interesting thing is, like, we watched through Spike Lee movies and we could see things, even though the genres didn't overlap necessarily. Like, Inside Man is not really a movie like the rest of the catalog that we watched. But he has things in it that, like, you go, oh, that's a Spike Lee thing. That's something he likes to do as a director. Couldn't tell you anything between the Ip Man movies that really carried over for me other than Donnie Yen.
Yeah, like because I was thinking it's like, oh well, there's this, and I'm like, well, no, I think that's more of an Edmund Wong, which is he's been like from what I have seen,
He's at least a producer.
Well, he's written, I think, all 4. And
okay.
So I think he's been on the writing team with that. I don't know how connected Wilson Yip is in the writing. He's not credited, but. Like and I from what I'm remembering, which I think this is still the case for some like the movies that we have now, like in America, but I think in China, at least in like Hong Kong movies, if I remember correctly, they do have like the person that's like in charge, but like a lot of these like scenes and stuff, like they have like the director for combat, like, and so it's just
highly credited.
Yeah, so it's just like that. So I'm wondering, it's like, okay, does that like the director kind of the person that is more like the supervisor for these other directors that's kind of setting more of the schedule? Like it's just one thing I don't know if
the influence the director has,
or and like what is different between the way, like, I don't know, like how if the way China shoots films to the way America shoots films. And so I'm wondering if that is why we're not seeing a huge like kind of thing that's sticking out, because maybe just the role of director in China is done differently than it is in America.
Case, which isn't a problem. It's just I know we talked about once we got a bit more into the series, like, oh, maybe we should consider like looking up what the director is known for and seeing if we can catch them throughout the movies. But that's okay. So then,
every time I look it up, all it is Ip Man. That's all it is.
Yeah. So then I will move on and ask you, how much did you root for the characters in this one? I did say they're not very memorable. So
yeah. Well, I feel like yes, you got to root for Ip Man because his name's in the title.
That's the title of the movie.
Yeah. Every time they say his name, it's like, oh, they said the name. They didn't say 4 though. So yeah, there was something like there's some story beats like I'm learning here. It doesn't matter what parent gets cancer, it's always gonna hit close to home. Where like I'm just like, so.
This movie didn't really focus on the diagnosis.
It didn't focus on that, but and I'll talk about it a little bit more. I do like how it was more focused on like the family side of it, because before it was like Ip Man's like, okay, I want to make sure my wife is as comfortable, and we hit everything that she wanted to do. And this one's like, oh, I need to, whether my son realizes and the people around me don't fully understand why I'm doing this, I need to make
Get
sure
my ducks
that,
all lined up.
So yeah, there was that. And I think the only other story line that I liked, which really they kind of just stop in the middle, but Yana Wan, the daughter, it's like her storyline was just like kind of a connective thread of how can we get her dad beat up.
How can we get Ip Man involved?
Yes. How can we how can Ip Man get connected to
American Chinese bureaucracy group? Yeah.
So, but I did enjoy. I did root for her, like kind of the story things, and just like you see, it's like through her you could see kind of Ip Man like realizing, oh, hold up, this is what my son needs, not what I'm doing. And so I did root for that, even though it's like pretty much once it gets to like the halfway point, like her big story kind of arc in the movie is like done.
It all wraps up way too nicely.
Yeah.
Because the Ip Man, storyline picks up. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I think I would agree with you. I don't think there were any other characters in here that I really, like, cared for. I think they wanted me to care about the Chinese sergeant, but he didn't have a personality.
And he sucked at Kung Fu.
I'll prove to you Chinese Kung Fu is good. Ha, Chinese Kung Fu's bad. I'm gonna go tell my master. I was like, what is... Anyway.
Man, it would have been buck wild to just see Ip Man's like, I'm not going to fight you because I'm flipping old and with cancer. But here's Bruce Lee.
I did like that you did predict to me. You were like, I bet this one's going to be a lot about Bruce Lee and not about his sons. And like, you were right and wrong.
Yes.
It was not about his sons. But it was also not about Bruce Lee.
The first half was a little bit.
Not even half.
The first third. He was
the reason he comes to America.
Yes. The cover story of why he came to America.
Yeah. How he afforded his plane ticket.
Yeah, and we saw him fight.
Yes, we did. And give a show. So then, what grade would you give the overall plot?
I think it's average. Like, I would probably give it a 5 to 6, somewhere around there. Like, that's numbers. A C.
I do like this one just a little bit more than 3, but less than 2. And I think I gave 3 like a C minus. So yeah, I guess I'll give this one just a flat C. I think this for me was an unintentional comedy. So if you go into Ip Man 4 and don't take it seriously, it's a much more enjoyable watch. Because in the beginning, I don't know, Ip Man 1 had me set up that I was like, there's going to be major revelations historically and context-wise for the country. I'm going to learn a lot. And then 2, I was like, okay, I'm not really like, there's hinting about different like after effects after World War II and the Japanese occupation. And then they get into 3 and I was like, nothing matters. So then by the time we were in 4, I was like, it feels like they want to do a culture reset and talk about a cultural change for having to come to America, but it didn't deliver. So then we will talk about the unintentional comedy, but the ending is the ending is definitely one of those where you go, please don't. Oh no. And you kind of just have to laugh at it.
You're like, okay, dokes, you'll do you, I guess.
So we both gave this like a C. So how likely would you recommend this to others?
I don't know. I don't think I would recommend it. I think if you, I think I would recommend it if you like Donnie Yen, because I think he does like. It's pretty much the same performance in all 3. I think the only one that he's like really different in is 1.
1 is like, it feels like speed running a 20-year story.
Yes.
It's not. I know it's not 20 years, but there's so much content in it that's like back to back to back to like put it all together. Because his son maybe only ages like 2 to 3 years in it, but
yeah, like I don't know. I think 1 would be really interesting to see a series about, like the all
extended,
like, like the historical context of like that of Foshan. And like the kung fu, and then like the Japanese and like World War II, and like how that changed, and just like the problem is everyone's gonna be like, is he gonna fight 10 men? Which I was like, I don't know, maybe.
Required in every movie.
He didn't do it in this one, and they also didn't make a mention.
He beat up teenagers.
They're not men.
They were only like 5.
And they weren't even American. Anyway. But yeah, so but I think I would like if you're looking for just a fun kung fu kind of movie, or action movie.
It's a little campy.
Yeah, like
if you want the unserious one, this could be.
I feel like if you're like having a party where you want something where it's just like we just want to laugh and have fun, it's really funny thinking about this, because it's like both of our conversations like this has racism light, and this is what we're like what we're saying is like,
but it's like in comparison with the earlier films.
Yes,
like the earlier
no one
films,
got shot.
Where were the guns? Sorry,
they were locked up.
It was really interesting for like 1 where they keep having the running through line of like, what's your kung fu gonna do against guns, and it does like the commentary pays off because a gun is an impetus in Ip Man deciding to use kung fu to fight his oppressors, and then like Ip Man 3, like there's weapons everywhere, but nobody uses, like, it's just a very like different tone. It's a very different tone. I was telling my friend, I was like, hey, if you ever want to watch Mike Tyson, a kung fu movie, he was like, does Mike Tyson know kung fu? I was like,
He knows how to fight.
He's there for like 2 minutes. And he's like, so like, and I was like, it's not the best fight.
Yeah, well, his fight is his best part in the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Before I get lost in thought, so I think I land with you very much like, I don't really see any individual that I would tell to go watch this, but I guess I could see it where if like you wanted kung fu but you didn't want to have to worry about blood or violence or like a lot of stuff like that, or having to follow along with what's happening.
It is.
I do think the earlier movies having the context that leads up to the fight makes the fight better. I think Ip Man 4, the fights, you could watch them individually and there's no emotional impact change with or without the context of the fight.
Mm-hmm. The Ip Man 4, the finale, not to be confused with whatever the other one that Wikipedia gives, Ip Man the Final Fight.
And not to be confused with the potential Ip Man 5.
Yes, which we just found out. But yeah, so it is the camera technique and visuals the best looking one, but I also think is the weakest of the stories. It feels like the most average of the stories.
Like, I don't think we had this on recording, but it does feel kind of like like a base Disney level type of story where they're like, if you're getting bullied, this is your solution. And it's like, it's more complicated than that. It's
No,
not that easy.
I realize what this is. This
What
is
is
like,
it?
we want to bring Ip Man to the global market. And who watches movies? Americans. We at this time we didn't. But it's just
Not
like,
us.
Yeah. Well, no, like right around this time is when kind of like movie theaters were kind of starting their decline. But anyway, all this was going on, and it's just like, okay, we really can't make America look terrible, otherwise we're gonna get review bombed. So we'll just do a little. We'll do a little dusting of racism.
It could be that. But
That's gonna be the opening.
so that we're not talking around the subject over and over again, are you ready to go to Spoiler Town?
Yep, let me start the timer. Whoa, that's a lot of notifications on my phone.
So popular. So for anybody that's listening, if you don't want us to spoil Ip Man 4, feel free to go watch it, and then you can come back here. If you're not worried about it getting spoiled, just continue, and we'll probably cover the whole plot in a very short time.
Hey.
Again, no offense to the movie, but it's very...
We'll let you guys know. It's okay being spoiled on it. It doesn't take away from the movie.
Yeah.
Hey, if any of the ones that, if you guys are coming into this one, it's like, oh man, well, I want to know if I should have watched it. Watch 1. If you like 1, watch 2. If you like 2,
That's fine.
yeah, it's a good, after 2 is a good jumping off point to be like, well, let me watch something else. Now, this is something I was thinking about, and this is not what this series is about, but I would be interested, maybe I'll do it on my own time, I doubt it because I don't have the time to watch movies, to watch the Ip Man, the other movies that are about Ip Man. Because I know when this came out, I don't know if it was this one or the last one, I know we talked about it, where there was some like legal issues of like doing Ip Man's movie, because I know there was another director that wanted to do it and all that stuff. So
the legal stuff that I had heard about is they wanted to use Bruce Lee's like digitally made likeness, and the estate said no and didn't give them permission to do a digital like recreation of Bruce Lee.
Yeah. So
but there's other directors that have taken on the legacy.
Yeah, so I think it would be interesting to see, because I feel like Ip Man 1 is like the standard for Ip Man films. So the other problem with me is like I don't see anyone else in my mind being Ip Man.
It has to be Donnie Yen.
It doesn't have to be, but it's just like I haven't, like I think the Grandmaster I watched, and that Ip Man wasn't, Donnie Yen didn't play Ip Man, but that one was also much more of like what you would think is a action, like a Hong Kong Chinese action film. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about.
But what I will sneak in is, if you are interested in hearing our thoughts about other movies relating to Ip Man, leave a comment. You gotta let us know. Calls to action, or whatever they call them.
Caused action?
Calls.
Call to action?
Calls.
It just also reminded me to just take a quick peek at the YouTube channel to make sure that... okay, cool. Now I'm just going to click X. And yeah, so I'm going to start the timer, unless there's anything else we got to say.
Choo-choo.
Okay. Oh, my phone turned off. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Who is your least favorite character in the movie?
I really didn't enjoy the Corporal General, whatever his name was.
Yeah, the one that's just copying the guy from Full Metal Jacket.
But the thing is, I wouldn't dishonor the guy from that guy. That guy's
a real.
He was a real
veteran.
Yeah, a real veteran. Like, oh, I love that story. I know this isn't what we're talking about, But I love that story because he was called in to be like an
Coordinator,
coordinator, and these guys like, no, this guy's trash, and he's like, let me do this. Like, here, let me show you. Let me give an example, and he did it and got the job. Like, he wasn't even trying to get the job. He's like, this is what you would do, and it's like, yeah, I'm blanking on his name, but he passed away, I think, like 5-10 years ago. But anyway, yeah. But the thing is, like, he's written to not be liked. So, yeah. So,
I think my personal least favorite is the karate sergeant.
yeah. Wait, the one.
His ego was too big.
His ego's as big as his muscles.
His ego was too big for any one room.
Mm-hmm. I also wish Becky got just like wrecked. I want her to get beat up, not just a little cut.
I thought the bully scene was so awkward. It was so weird. Like, thank goodness they had Ip Man just do, like, ear twisting, because, you know, he himself is a father, and also he would be in jail for literally ever for beating up minors as an immigrant into the country.
No, he's a superhero. He would have gotten out. He should have just gone full, like...
He should have just murdered the 10 punches each of them.
Yeah, just like the... Like, there. Just, like, if you're going to do the 10-man thing, just, like, boom. Just, like you did to that Japanese soldier.
It's just like The Thing for me was...
The Thing? Oh, I like that movie.
I like that one too. But her crux of her bullying her was cutting her hair. Like, I know as a teenager that's probably important, but I was like, man, they really underestimate how bad bullies can be. They really, like... She's jealous of her for getting cheer captain, which, again, I don't believe she would have gotten cheer captain with the year that was in.
No.
But also...
She did flip.
Like, she changed the routine. She's cheating. I mean, I know they're unlikable, but they're not even, like, believably human beings.
The British?
They're Americans, Itisdpayne. They're in America.
Sure, okay. Yeah. I was just like, man, for someone that's trying to mess up the girl's hair, you cut it really well. Like, yeah, where it was, like, very minimal. He's like, oh, let me fix this on the bus, a little snip, snip. And I'm just like...
He also didn't fix it. It was uneven for the rest of the movie.
It was, I don't know. I don't look at hair.
Well, they clearly, like, you could tell by her hair, the way it looked. Like, they just used a wig before and after and, like, gave her, like, the bob as a wig. And they just kept the wig the same. And it didn't feel like she got it, like, recut. Because there were some scenes where she turned around and I was like, oh, that's a 90-degree angle in there. But, again, not that important.
Well, it was on a bus. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
What is important is when you watch an older man come and beat up 5 teenagers for you, you go, I wish you were my dad. I wouldn't wish that a man that just came up and beat up my bullies was my father. I'd be like, who are you and what do you want with me?
Yeah, that was such a hard heel of just like, oh my goodness. It's like, you speak the same language my dad does. Oh, and you beat up my bullies. If this was a different movie, I would have to deal with this the next day. Not dad getting called home from New York. It's like, it's about time you're home. I literally drove from New York and like, and you're not more tired? Like, I figured. But yeah, it's I understand why Becky was there for the little fart of
She's
the story.
She's a plot point. Yeah.
But it was like, it would have been hilarious if it's like, that's what would have made this movie a higher score for me. If they didn't go to the U.S. military base, which I know what they were like at the end, it tells you like what they were leading into, like a historical thing.
Yeah.
But man, this movie would have been awesome of just Ip Man beating up kids.
Yeah, and the other thing is like they had the whole force plot line of the immigration raid. Mm-hmm. And again, like it was very gentle. It wasn't nice, but it was a very like nobody was harmed. He was kept in like a interview room. He wasn't shoved off and immediately deported. Like I don't it was a very optimistic look at what they would have done. So I don't know. Maybe if we had less historical context, maybe you and I would have been able to enjoy this more, but it really
Nope.
nope. Like it was just so confusing to me too, the way that the immigration plot line ends, where they just show up and the daughter's like, I confess, it's all my fault. My dad didn't do anything wrong. And then the police officer's like, well, this is awkward.
Yeah,
like,
it's. I guess there's two things that I want to bring up. First off, the immigration thing. There's a plot point in the Jade War where it is similar.
okay.
They came out the same year, so I'm not saying one was inspired by the other.
I mean, it's a common
Yes, yeah.
occurrence,
But there's
unfortunately.
but yeah, it's different flavors, but I'm like, oh, okay. And so there is parts of this movie that kind of reminded me of the Jade War, which is the second book of the Greenbone Saga by Jane Fonda. But this whole movie, like, kind of in reflecting on it, is there's multiple different different perspectives on kind of like fatherhood, because like we have the police officer, which we're seeing it from the perspective of Ip Man and Yona and Juan, her dad, and it's just like he is a villain. This story very easily could be told from their perspective, and he could be seen as the hero, as like where we wouldn't have the context of Becky being a little turd. And it's just like there's like and I think it's like at that point, like you see it when like it's real quick where Yona's like going and like apologizing, all that stuff, and it's just I think I don't see the dad's name here, Andrew, where he is. That's funny. His name's Andrew Lane in the movie, and he was no Andrew Lane was the actor playing Andrew Walters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just so he doesn't forget who he's supposed to be.
And he does like we do see him like when he does have like he is xenophobic towards Chinatown. Like it doesn't go into the grudge.
It feels like he wants an excuse.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not protecting him, but there is, and like I'm not saying like he was justified in his actions. However, there is like a moment of doubt that passes through his mind where he's just like when Yona's just like begging for her father, and it's like it's real quick because he's there, like this is there, sees like Juan come over, is like, no, don't bow to them, like they don't deserve it, all that stuff, which kind of gets into his own kind of story of fatherhood. While I'm trying to remember the name, wow, that is quite the name. So but yeah, while he's in there, it's just like, come on, fight me, I need to show you how strong I am. And so it's like where it's almost like Andrew's like, I think my dumb daughter got me a little bit got me into something that I shouldn't be in. And it's just like kind of it feels like he has like a moment, and like he's out of the movie after that point of like what should I be doing? Like I'm pretty much like hurting this family. And then like with Juan, like it's like he's definitely like, I want to instill like the old what's it called, the old traditions, the language, the Tai Chi, and share that with my daughter without like really, and this is me like not being in an immigrant household and all that stuff. I've heard multiple accounts of it, but it's just like he wants to, like, we were in America, but I want you to know where you came from. But there's that where the point where he becomes so like unbending, but at the same time he's like, no, to protect Chinatown, the rest of the people here, I have to, it's, he has to like kind of bend the knee to, not kind of, he does, like, up to that point, and he's trying to tell everyone, like, be peaceful. Not so much the same as well, they call him Fat Bo, but I don't know what his name is. The detective, and even the guy from the first one who is being the translator for the Japanese. I wouldn't say it's the same one in there, because it's like he is kind of like the wall to protect and he's kind of like make sure there's peace. But like, as they say, like, we're on their land. There's not, like, we have to follow their rules. So we're trying to make sure that, like, an outburst from us or anything, which, like, Ip Man's not understanding. Yeah, so all that, but, like, kind of just where he sees what his daughter had to go through, and he's like, no, there's some things worth standing up for, which I think is a better story than, what was it in the second one, is like, we got to stand up for our kung fu, where this one's like
specifically,
yeah, it's like, no, this one's like, no, I have to stand up and protect, even if it's not the smart thing to do, like, for my kid. And then finally Ip Man, who is just like sees himself in Yona and Juan, and then is like, oh, and where Yona wants the freedom to not do kung fu and kind of be more in what I guess where she's living, part of America, while his son's like, I don't want to go to America, I want to learn kung fu. And I think I liked the ending. I think the ending definitely, like, kind of brought, it was kind of like a completion to the journey, which, and not so much the fact that they did all the all the flashbacks from all the different movies, but I felt like in each movie we see pretty much like different things. Like Ip Man, even though it's not like so spelled out, there's like, you can kind of see that in each movie there's this like thing that he has to learn, like kind of like not being like, you can't just be neutral the whole time, which is kind of like the second one. The first one was like protecting country. The third one was like, look, sometimes like sacrifice things for the people you care about. And then this one is just like caring, like making sure, as you said earlier, making sure your ducks are in order. And so I thought it was, I don't know, just that thing where he's watching, he's like, film me, I'm gonna do this once. And it's just like, I'm like, I really liked that whole scene. I talked a lot. Go ahead.
You're fine. I mean, like, I think you've covered it really well, like, in terms of, like, looking at the movies as a whole and his character growth and everything like that. I just, like, I think the problem is it feels like the fourth one, given its material, could have been as good as the first one. But I think what the first one does really well is it really commits to portraying the story, right? Like you said, like, it could be a full series where you take more of your time because there is a lot of time crunched into, like, it. But, like, the fourth one seemed to be like, oh, I really like how the story in the first one is told, and how you have, like, the story beats and you have the fights, and the fights lead to, like, a greater means to an ends. Because it does feel like 2 tries to do it, but it doesn't hit the same emotional beats, and 3 just, the fights were fights. Like, 3's fights didn't feel like, especially, like, the way that they're placed into the movie. The one, like, the elevator fight in 3 is really cool, but it's in between this really, like, slow-paced finding love within a couple again. So it doesn't like, you're like, wait, we're fighting now? I thought we were slow dancing. I'm kind of confused. But I think 4 had the opportunity with the way it built up its story to feel like 1. But 1 really commits to the story, right? Like 1, I was like, we joked like, oh my god, that guy got shot in the head. Like I was not prepared, and I was also just not prepared for a movie that like I knew was like had famous martial arts scenes. I wasn't expecting the really strong commentary between the fight scenes. 4 has the skeleton of strong commentary, but then decides to like, not to make a pun, but pull its punches. So its fights happen at the right moments and for the right reasons, but because things don't feel high stakes enough, I think I'm just watching the movie going, I guess I understand why you would want to punch that guy, but you could have talked about it. Like when the guy brings the dummy and he's like, you're being punished for bringing the dummy. It's like, it didn't have to be a fight right now. It wasn't like, there wasn't anything at stake in the way that like 1 had things at stake. 2 kind of has things at stake. 3, shrug.
Yeah, and like, yeah, just looking at it at its own, like, it feels like because you could tell after 1 there was no like there was no plans, kind of just like how in the first Star Wars, before it was called Star Wars 4 A New Hope, like in the original one, Luke and Leia stinking kiss and like make out. Yeah, like, and it's just like, hey,
spoilers.
That's not in when they give it the number. They totally cut that out. It's like, you're all related. You can't be doing. Oh wow, that kind of that goes back to a conversation that was not recorded. But anyway,
we don't talk about brothers and sisters kissing. We promise.
Yeah, cousins. We've been doing shows together for way too long. But yeah, now I derailed my thinking. Yeah, so like we both commented, it was just like, yeah, there was no thought of a series after this, because like even from 1 to 2, like in 1 the fights are a lot more grounded. In 2, we start seeing more of that like kind of fantastical kind of like set pieces, like not so much like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where they're like jumping through trees and all that, but it's like they're flipping tables and jumping off of chairs and
the pallets all kind of pissed you off, I remember.
Yeah, and then 3, it feels like things have a little like gain a little bit more weight. And I feel like in this one, and I guess this is good. Like, we got 10 minutes left, so if we wanted to talk about what our favorite fights were, and then I think the thing about the fights is there's in all 3 of them, there was like a cool set piece. Like there was at least a fight. Like there was things other than just fights. In this one, there's a lot of fights that are literally, like, some of them make sense to be in an arena. But then there's another, like, there's a one fight that it's just like, okay, where there could be some cool stuff. So yeah, so the fight with the kids, which I'm not even going to call that a fight, but it was more like, what are you doing? Stop, like.
Bonk.
Yeah. No weapon. Okay, I'm going to take your ear off.
I'm going to come at you with this hockey stick. Don't do that. Oh my god, don't come near me. I'm so scared.
Yep. So there was that. It was silly. But that whole thing was like, it was, from that one fight, there was something that happened. Like, he gets his hand crushed in the fence. And apparently fences is Ip Man's only weakness besides gun and cancer. So, because like that's like the one thing, which I guess it does show his age, where he's not like bouncing back from fights. But like he's that's a common theme throughout the rest of the fight. So I guess, yeah, that is important because, like, there's, like, the one weakness that everyone that he fights after that keeps going on. We have the Bruce Lee and random white karate man or martial artist in the alley.
It's cheating. Oh, I thought you were talking about the one that's the competition where the karate guy's just sitting there going, "It's all fake. It's made up."
No. No, not that one. Not. Yeah, outside
but the one
diner.
where after the diner. Yeah.
So there's that one. After. Well, I think it's that, then the school, and then after the school, would be Ip Man and Wang Sheng Hoa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. The dad from Tai Chi. Which I guess actually that one had a lot of, like, things in there to, like, kind of work a way around, and it was the common thing of we can't have one of them win, so an earthquake happens. Well, not the earthquake being the common thing, but there's a reason for the fight to stop. And then after that, I think the fights that really stand out is Karate Man taking on the Masters and then being put in his place by Ip Man. And the Tai Chi dad facing the Colin Frater. And
yes.
Sorry, not Frater. I guess it was the sergeant. I don't know. He was a karate master. Who's Barton Geddes? So anyway, the guy who just was on a mission to destroy anybody that could potentially be stronger than him. And then the final fight, Ip Man versus the corporal, the staff sergeant. There we go. That was his. No, the gunnery sergeant. Anyway, well, one of the dudes.
Yelling guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who I will fully admit wasn't expecting to know any form of martial arts.
Yeah, the way he talked about it, I was like, oh, so this guy's just, like, kind of racist and annoying, and instead he's like, I do karate. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had a guy for that, but okay.
Yeah, like, I will admit, was not expecting him to be, like, and then to that level. It was just, like, it was very much like I never watched the Marvel movie where Thanos says this, but I think Thanos says it, where he very much was like, looked at it, he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And he does. Like, to be fair, he does. But how about you? I think I got all the fights. Was there a fight that stood out?
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered them all pretty well. Out of the fights, like, I think I was, even though it was an exciting thing to watch the karate guy against all the masters, I think I was kind of at the point where I felt like with the 3 other movies and us watching this weekly, I was like, I've seen this over and over again at this point. Because I know the point is to emphasize how important Ip Man is to, like, Chinese Kung Fu. There are other ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, at least, like you said, they didn't do the 10-man fight or reference the 10-man fight or make the 10 fight. They didn't force the 10-man fight again because it's like, yeah, we know. That's the that's the joke. Mm-hmm. We all know about it. The final fight, of course, they always put the most production into, so it's always going to be the one, like, those 2 are the ones that I was like, these are cool fights. If only the final fight wasn't ruined by the slow clap at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the other one that the alley fight was also, like you said, like, some of these fights were really dynamic. I think the alley fight for me was probably the most dynamic one. Because the only other alley fights that we've seen that weren't with Ip Man specifically was the student in 2. And that one was very short. And that one was really clumsy because it's supposed to be because it's his first student who's getting into a street fight.
Is this? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so it was kind of neat seeing an alley fight with sophisticated fighters that wasn't just Ip Man coming to save the day.
Yeah, I was just about to say, is this the first fight that Ip Man, like, doesn't have to take part of where the person actually
is
wins.
like stands on his own.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But it is also Bruce Lee.
Yes, that would be a problem if he lost from multiple people's viewpoints. I will say, like, I thought that fight was fun. I think the like visuals of that, like the color grading and all that stuff in that fight was really cool. But I remember watching it and I'm like, the guy who's playing Bruce Lee is impressive. The guy he's fighting really isn't.
Oh yeah, like they just had the guys that were like, "Yo, I heard you were saying mean things about karate. I'll show you." And it's like, this doesn't feel like real people. Like, I think that's the other problem I had with the movie, where a lot of the antagonists were so antagonistic that you're like, this isn't how people would confront each other. Mm-hmm. Like, even though I keep referencing Ip Man 1, but it is the one that like sticks out in my brain. Ip Man 1 is like, it feels really cruel, but it's like, yeah, that's the point of the movie, unfortunately, because people were eating, maybe splitting 10 grains of rice between a family of 3. Like, that was, but it really sets up the stakes. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something also kind of interesting watching Ip Man 1 after watching Godzilla 0. It's like different takes about around the same time in history. Mm-hmm. Pretty close. Ip Man 1
it's World War
ends
II.
Ip Man 1 ends where the Godzilla 0 kind of starts to kick off, because I think Godzilla 0 is post the bombings. Because remember, he comes back.
Yes. Sorry, for some reason World War I was sticking in my mind, but I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But it was just
Ip
like
Man was actually Godzilla. Oh man.
with how many fights he wins, he could be. So yeah, as far as like which fight I like the best, I guess I have to say the final fight, but you would hope so, because like I feel like even in 3 I also liked the final fight, but it does feel like in both of these movies the final fight was like highest production fights.
This is that final fight, it's like the only one that he actually takes damage in. Like, because in the final fight in the first one, he just like, they both went in with different mindsets. So the guy who was like, I want to have a tournament, and the Ip Man's like, I'm going to punch your face in.
He's like, I'm going to push you out of the square. He's like, no.
I'm gonna punch your face out of this lifetime. So there's that. The final fight in 2 was the boxer.
He did take damage. He got punched.
Yeah. So maybe that's Ip Man's other weakness. He has to take a couple hits from a white guy.
He can't fathom their fight style because they're so brutish. They're so not modest about it. Their fighting, which is true.
So there's that. The third one was the face-off with the other guy who knew Wing Chun.
Yes. But that one was kind of cool to see, because it's the first time we see someone that feels like same wheelhouse as him.
And then this one...
Not that he had a chance, but...
And this one, like... It's one of the things that always like, not always, but it's like... It confuses me on, like, why this guy who is, like... is supposed to be in the prime of his life is like, that's right, I beat this kung fu master, all that stuff, and it's like, they're like in their 50s to 60s. You're like,
that's how I feel about some of the modern boxing matches where they're like, I challenged the great. I'm like, that man has had so many punches to the head that he is not in his heyday. Like, hearing people are like, I wish I could have challenged Pacquiao when he was in his 50s. You're 20.
Yeah, so I guess... Oh, we're almost out of time. But we had like 20 seconds left. But my favorite fight... I did like the final fight. But it was just like... I don't know. The slow clap. It's just... I don't know. It was one of those things where I'm like... Okay, we know Ip Man's going to win. And stuff. And it's just like... Okay, the dude literally has cancer, has like a sprained or extremely bruised arm, and now he's facing off against him. And I do what I do like about that fight, and it's one of the things I do like about this one is that and I mentioned it earlier, multiple people notice that Ip Man's hand is hurt
from the fence.
From the fence. And so like every kind of fight that he's in, they try to take advantage of that. Except for the fight with the Tai Chi one, which I personally think that's my favorite fight.
That is a very good one. I think the thing that just I understand why it couldn't go longer because they were gonna hurt themselves.
Yes,
but I do wish it like just a little bit more.
Yeah, like you knew something was gonna come in that stops the fight. Like it's the same like in 2 when he's fighting the tiger. I'm blanking on his name, but like fighting that guy, like that.
The guy that shows up and he's like, "I'm here to prove that this style's better than your style."
Yeah, and
it becomes the like highway robber.
No, that's 1. 2, the table fight.
Table, yes, when he's trying to establish his school.
Yes. Yes. And so like I know it's gonna be something similar to that. I think he has a fight like that. No, he doesn't have a fight like that in 3. I guess the fight that was supposed to be like that is the end, where the last fight is. But all that being said was just like I think I enjoyed I like seeing them and just kind of like he notices it and he's like, hey, and they, like without even talking, they're just like one hand and they're like, okay. So they put their hand.
A very respectful fight. Yeah, that's fair.
And so, but like, as I said, what I felt like the other fights were missing was just stuff in the way. And it's just like where they had to like work with the tables and moving all the stuff. It's like, the one thing that kind of took me out of that fight was when the camera would just show his daughter in the background, and it felt like I was watching a Street Fighter fight because she's just like
idle animation back there. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think I did like that. It's it's like I think I wish that the Marine man. Like, I know this is probably not what I should be saying as an American citizen, but I kind of wish he got his butt kicked more.
That's fair.
But it's okay. My brother's not in the military. Or he's in the military, but he's not in the Marines. That portrayal, I'm just like, it felt like he needed more. He deserved more. For
how much he was yelling and like picking fights and like just beating up random people that he saw. He's like, tell me where he is.
Yeah. The other thing, and I guess there was one other question that I wanted to close this out on. It won't be a big one because I know we're getting close to an hour 15. It felt like, I don't know if you noticed that, but noticed what I was about to say. But when anytime like the people that are all learning karate and the martial arts and stuff, and like how the person was just like, this is the best thing. We don't need these Chinese martial arts. And it's just like, the Chinese, they're weaker than us, blah, 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 and all this stuff. I'm like, I looked, whenever they showed the camera, I was like, is he the only white guy in this room? Is he like just on the verge of being like, it felt like if this was made in America, that dude would have been way more racist.
I know. Like, it's so... Yeah, and then I was also confused at the way that, like, the whole squadron, I guess, was set up. But, you know, like, I don't know the proper term. But it was just, like... I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just... Not to say that I wish it was more terrible to people, but also, like... In some ways, it almost feels like a joke rather than like trying to make you feel something about it, because even the way the actors say things like regarding people's skin tones, they like say it like, I understand the actor's probably uncomfortable having to say it because it's not something you should say, but it's like, in contrast, if you watch like the updated Django Unchained and Leonardo DiCaprio, he goes like, to make a convincing character, I have to say it terribly.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's a lot of things you have to do to make sure you as a person can separate the character as an actor. But like the way that it's delivered in Ip Man 4, it almost feels like someone's like trying the word out, and you're like,
to be fair, the move, like, it is the, like, yes, there not that to detract from the history of racism and all that stuff, but it and everything that was involved. We're comparing it to a lot of movies that we know that we've seen, like especially last year watching A24 and different things from American lens. And not that they're kind of, as you're saying, like pulling away from it or anything, but it's just like it's the same time, the movie, like I never watched Django Unchained, but I don't think it's also an action fighting movie as well. So it's just like, I don't know. It
depends how you think about it.
I never watched it, so I don't have.
Yeah, the writing is more focused on making you hate people.
Yeah, it's
like it's about like.
Well, this one is here to show us how cool Ip Man was,
which is fine.
Yeah, which is okay.
It's just, I mean, like, I guess I just can't help but compare it to, like, the first movie.
Yes.
Like, that's the most fair comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, it's very, in your face.
Yes.
There's no question about who the bad guys are and why they're bad and why it's important.
Mm-hmm. I will be, because I know you said you were going to read the Jade, whatever the first Jade one is, or at least you're like, I should get to it soon. The Jade.
Yeah, I saw the video of the guy spinning, so I was like, oh, I also spun for the rest of the books in his list, so I guess I should finally do it.
Yeah, so if you read the second one, it would be interesting to, because there's a lot of similar kind of plot points, and there's similar things I got to talk about. But anyway, that's I don't want to go super late, but this is maybe the only series for this what we're doing this year. It'll be the only one to my at least current setup that will be a whole series. So watching the whole series, would you recommend somebody, if they wanted, they're like, I'm thinking about watching that Man series, would you recommend it or would you not?
It has to be all four?
Let's just say they're interested in starting it.
I would tell them,
yeah,
you could watch the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm also like curious, like a personal curiosity, not necessarily I'll probably do it, but I am curious if I go and watch more martial arts films, if I'll be able to be better at recommending things. But me, based on, like you said, I mainly watch things that land more in like the A24 category, where
Mm-hmm.
it's meant to be
thought-provoking.
Yeah, like surface level you can get a lot, but actually, like, we've watched Hereditary how many times and we still get something new out of it
Not
every time.
enough.
So me having that point of view, I would say like the first two are more than enough to watch, because also, like, unfortunately for the rest of the series, it does feel like they went, all of our coolest fights are in the first two, how do we keep making them later? And it's like, no, you're supposed to make new cool fights.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Because, like, even between 2 and 3, like, I know I thought that the rescuing of his student in the fish market was a bit of a long scene, but there were cool moments in it. And then in the third one, you have the boat area. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this feels similar, where it's just like, how many boat workers work in this boatyard? It's never ending. More boat people.
Maybe more than 10. But
at least enough to make a 10-man circle multiple times.
Yeah. And if they did 11, they probably could have beat him.
It's the 11th guy hesitating. That's always the problem. But same question back to you.
I think if someone came and was like, I'm thinking about watching about it, I think I would encourage it. I've been like, no, it's a good series. I think I would warn them that in the later ones, it kind of, it does dwindle, but I think
the charm of the first two doesn't carry through.
Yes. But I do think, like, as someone who hasn't studied Ip Man's life, I do think as a fictional kind of telling of his life, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say there is, it's on my list to watch, but I know it's kind of like for kung fu action kind of movies. That's almost like required watching, and it's on my list to watch. And I think I tried to see if we could, but I don't think the same director does both of them. It's called The Raid, and that one is no stories, all fight, from what I've heard. And it's, from what I've heard, it's like the best choreography, like some of the best fight choreography, like it for a fight ever. It's pretty much like this cop is like trying to trying to catch this drug lord, and he's in a like tower, like not like a huge tower, like a 5-6 level building, and each level it's almost like a video game from what I heard, because it's got like this master of some fight. And so the guy just goes up each level, fights this person, gets the elevator, goes up to the next level to get up to the top level where the like drug lord boss guy is.
So it's Mortal Kombat's tower.
Pretty much, but it's like, from what I heard, it's like I've heard multiple people like who professionally talk about movies and like that don't professionally talk about movies say like the Raid and the Raid 2 are like up there.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess if we ever want to add more to our plate and we just need like, I just want to watch something dumb and talk about it on the podcast, we could do that.
We could we did talk about toying around with ideas. Maybe whenever we get around to those ideas, we force a prompt. Consume media with cool fight scenes. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of books with cool fight scenes too.
To bring a call back from the early days, put it on the list.
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
We'll roll dice.
But anyway, thank you.
We'll take a quiz.
Oh yeah. Let's find out what Ip Man character we are.
Not tonight.
I know. Well, it's too late now. But I'm
yes.
like, I just thought of that. It's got to be out there somewhere.
Maybe we'll share it before we start my birthday month. If we find a quiz, we can share our results and let that stew.
But yes, thank you everyone that was listening and or watching. Hope you guys enjoyed our look at Ip Man. We didn't really talk a lot about Wilson Yip's directorial styles because, like, compared to the other ones, mainly because every time I tried to look up anything on him, all they talked about was he did Ip Man, and that was like the whole article, and it's like, okay. So, but yeah, next week it is Hop's. We're starting Hop's birthday month, and we're doing
What We Do in the Shadows is first.
What We Do in the Shadows for Taika Waititi. I know I said his name wrong, but I'm just looking. Taika, is that it?
Yes, I
Taika
believe so.
Waititi? Is that? I don't know.
Waititi?
Waititi.
But I just put in my hold to the library for the DVD. Take that, streaming services.
Oh, sorry, you said that, and I looked at the Discord and was like, that's not a DVD. Yeah. No, I will have to write. So anyway, that is it, and we'll see you guys next week. Until next time, doodles.